Great Truth of the World podcast, broadcasting and streaming live, bringing guidance to the truth of what life is and what life is about. And it's about to start right now.
Read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. 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 You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. Believe in the book that Allah has revealed. Confirming prophecies of prior prophets as this is sealed. It was revealed to the praiseworthy one Muhammad, who was a messenger and also a prophet, corroborating the books from before. The Gospel, the Psalms, the Zabur, and the Torah. These were books of guidance and wisdom, and you had to be a righteous man to receive them. Filled with piety and spirituality, you had to possess these virtues and qualities to receive and live by and teach these scriptures. Articulate the words of God just like painted a picture. The point of the message to get across is to worship no other gods besides Allah. The Quran explains that all prophets were Muslim, cause they submitted to Allah, and it's called Islam. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. 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 You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. Do not confound the people with falsehood, nor conceal the truth knowingly that it's not good. Mislead them through with false hopes and aspirations. That's the devil's tricks and treats. He likes the complications. How is it that you enjoin others to do good and neglect your own selves while you know you should? Seek the help of God through prayer and perseverance. Indeed, it's a hard thing for those who's incoherent. Only speak words to listeners that's straightforward with no doubt. They won't be confused about the words that fall out your mouth, cause when they hit the air, they're not yours anymore. You just shared your thoughts that could impact the whole world. There are some who will twist and tangle your conclusion, misconcepting the point, creating an illusion. That's trickery, the devil's own sophistry. And if you have no shame, do what thou wilt, live carelessly. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. 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 You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. Religion is one and always has been like God. The shaitan just distorts things, that's his facade. Have you thinking that prophets had different messages, but they all spoke the same words, they gave presages. Just raised up in different times and different generations, teaching people is one God was their foundation. Not to worship anything that's on this earth, worshiping idols and people that were given birth. These things did not create themselves, they were created. We should praise and thank Allah, happily elated. If you read the Quran, you will come to see that religion is how it's supposed to be. Each prophet was one brother to another. They all were born in separate times from different mothers. Without the prophets, mankind would be lost without direction. Prophetless is obvious, the ones without reflection. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. 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 You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran. You should read the Quran.
Black Seed Tea. It's good for me. Prophet's peace be upon him said, black tea, black seed. Black seed, this is black seed tea. Prophet peace upon him said, the black seed is the cure for all diseases, all ailments, all pandemics. It cures everything but death. But death. That's what the last prophet said. He was guided from God. This book, the guidance for all mankind, the heavyweight truth of the world. All praise and thanks is for God. We praise him. We seek his aid, his guidance, and his assistance. We seek refuge with God from the evilness that dwells from within our souls and from our sinful deeds. Whomsoever God guides, you cannot mislead this person. And whomsoever God allows to be led astray, you cannot find for this person a guiding friend. I bear witness that there is no God but the one true God. And he is the creator who, after creating heaven and hell in the eternal realm and creating the earth and the solar system and time and space, he exists today as he always has, without a place. Because the creation has a beginning. And God has no beginning. God always was and always is. And he never changed after creating the creation. He can't change. It's impossible for him to change. The creation does not apply to God. The creation cannot contain God. It cannot bind God. It cannot surround God or encompass God or enclose God. Think about that. God is not in heaven. He created that place for us, for the human beings. That's how merciful and compassionate he is to us, to mankind. He created the eternal realm for us. Any words outside of God, it's a created thing. It's the creation. And God gave us names to call upon him. So anything that enters the creation, like we're saying the word God, that's inside of this creation. Listen to this. Get this. Ponder on this. Because this is the God that I worship. And this is the God that the ones who submit to him worship. In Islam, Islam means submit to him, and Muslim means the one who submits to him. But get this point here. Whatever's inside of the creation right here, this we're in time and space right now. Well, we in time right now, inside of the earth, enclosed and bound and contained inside of this earth. And we can look out and see the solar system, and we can see what's contained out there, what is bound out there, the planets, the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Mars, Neptune, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, all the solar system out there, the stars. Okay, that's creation. That's a created thing. That solar system out there in this earth here, and us, the human beings, and all the creatures that's on this earth. It's created. Whatever has come into the creation is created. God is not inside of the creation. It cannot contain him. But we saying this word God, right? So when God created the creation, he created human beings with tongues, with languages, so that we can pronounce words. He created the alphabet. He created sounds. He created people to articulate these sounds and to write these letters and to read these letters, these syllables, these words. So it's inside of the creation. We utilize it. So God gave us words and letters and syllables that he created inside of the creation so that we can refer to him as and to be aware of him and to remember him by, to refer to him. So the word God, G-O-D, the word God, the letter G, is a created thing for us to refer to God. The letter O, G-O-D, is created. The word and letters, the word Allah, that's an Arabic word. God is an English word. If we write it in English, the A, L, L-A-H, that's a created thing. Those words, that word Allah is created. But Allah, and he created that for us to refer to him as. But when he created the creation, he revealed himself. So before he created the creation, there was no one to say God or to say Allah or to write letters or to sound out syllables. Get it? So the word God and the word Allah is a creation for us. It's inside of the creation. We utilize these things. But God in his essence is not a part of the creation. The creation does not apply to God, does not apply to Allah, the Arabic word for God. How he refers to himself in this Quran, which he revealed, which he created he revealed these letters and these words, these sentences in this Quran. He revealed it. He created it as guidance for his created beings. It's inside of this creation, this Quran. So this Quran is God, is what God created for us as guidance. It's inside of the creation. So when we say Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Qudus, As-Salam, these are references that God created for us and on inside of the creation so that we can refer to him as, so we can have some type of reference to him and some type of acknowledgement of him. But in essence, it's not him. It's a created thing for us to utilize. So Ar-Rahman means compassion and merciful, and Malik means king. See, we as a human beings, we have a limited understanding. We only can understand things from a human perspective. We cannot understand things from God's perspective because He hasn't given us that type of knowledge. He only gave us a little bit of knowledge. He didn't give us all the knowledge. There are billions of millions of things that we don't know of, that we can't comprehend with this brain that's in our head. The schematic, the blueprint, the schematic that's inside of our head, it has a limited thinking pattern. We cannot think outside of a human being. But we remember God and we refer to God and we believe in God. But he is not a part of the creation. He exists without a place. There's nothing that can contain him. He created all the places. There was nothing but he created the creation. So the creation does not apply to God. And whatever he is inside the creation, he created it for us. This is how much he has blessed us. And all he wants from us is to worship him and to praise and thank him and glorify him. And to pray straight to him without no mediators or intercessors. And then we get to enjoy all the creation. But we must know, we must get a good understanding of who God is and what he is not. He is not nothing that's inside of this creation, nothing we can fathom. The only thing we can fathom is human characteristics. So get that point. God is not, we know good and darn well, or good and doggone well, that God is not a human being. So, we know this, but we are human beings and we are not gods at all. We did not create ourselves. We do not even know ourselves. Let's think about us for a minute. Okay? We are a skeleton up under all of this flesh. A skeleton. Look how he fashioned us. We are a skeleton to start off with. That's the foundation of our creation, of man and woman. We are a skeleton. Then we are muscles, all these muscles, and we can't even see all the muscles and ligaments that's wrapped around the bones. And we can't even see the marrow inside of the bones. You have an outer shell of the skeleton, then you have an inner core of the skeleton bone. The marrow inside of there. We can't even see what's inside of that. What's keeping it healthy and all of that stuff that's in there. So we are not gods. We did not create ourselves. We were created by the great one, the magnificent one, God Almighty. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He gave us a little bit of power, a minute, a little mustard seed of power. And that power is to make a choice. That's all we can do is make a choice, decide nay or yay. Are we going to do this or are we going to do that? To make a choice and then the power to put that choice in action. That's all we can do. And we go out and seek the bounties that he has created for us. The food, the vegetation, the fruits, the vegetables, the animals that we kill and eat and utilize for clothes, the cotton, the linens, the metals, the precious metals that come out of the earth. that we use to build, the cars we love, the Rolls Royces and the Bentleys that we that we dream of having. Okay? Everything is here for us, but this is the God I'm talking about. And this one true God said in this Quran, he only created us, that men, the jinn, and the angels, he only created us so that we worship him. That's what he wants from us. The why and the how, the creation and the beings that dwell therein were created, and how to fulfill their obligation to their creator. They were simply created to worship their creator by praising and thanking him. That's God. Glorifying and extolling, devotion and prayer to him without mediators or intercessors. And how are we to know and learn the ways in which to achieve this goal? That is to follow the guidance. This Quran right here. Because if we're not being guided by God, these words that he has revealed through the prophets to communicate to us so that we will know that in which he wants from us, that to be guided so that we can achieve and ascertain and prepare for what he has in store for us, where we're headed to, the promise of the good tidings of the eternal heaven, and to avoid the promise of the destruction for all eternity in hell, a painful torment. He wants us to avoid that. But unfortunately, people are going to go there. Because in this book, he describes two groups of people, believers and disbelievers. And he said he has created the heaven for the believers for all eternity through his compassion and mercy. He said he's the most compassionate, the most merciful. That's how he describes himself throughout this book before he starts each and every chapter. And also to be on the receiving end of his wrath if you fail to disregard the guidance and lead yourself astray from your own thoughts, from your own beliefs, doing what thou wilt. Doing what thou wilt, doing what you want to do, you will lead yourself astray right into the hellfire. You can only get into the eternal heaven by following this guidance and the books that's inside of this book. The book that this book confirms. The books that this book confirms. That's entailed inside of this Quran, which it confirms, which is the Torah and the Injil. Now the Torah, God mentions in this book that the children of Israel aforetime was changing the book, was changing it, rearranging it. So those books are probably not in their original form. They probably they probably have been changed up a little bit to the, on the earth today. The books the Torah that's on the earth today, and the Injil, we definitely know the Injil is not in its original form, because King James ordered William Shakespeare to write the Bible. And the Bible that's on the earth today that the Christians are following is not the original text. It's not the Injil. I'm sure of that. Because as the world knows, King James, ordered William Shakespeare, collaborated with William Shakespeare on his Bible that, that's renowned right now in the world, especially here in America. That's the book that they're following, that they say is from Jesus, that it's the gospel of Jesus Christ. But it's not the book, the original book that this Quran speaks of, that this Quran confirms, the book that was revealed to Jesus. His name is Isa in this book in Arabic, but we call him Jesus, even though that letter J was made up, I believe, in like the 1300s or the 1500s. Research that letter J. It's an English letter that they made up not too long ago. And they put it at the beginning of that Jewish prophet's name. So, stuff has been changed and rearranged. So but this book here, God says in this book, when it was revealed in 600 AD, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he ain't gonna let this one be changed. That's why this book was revealed in Arabic. And it's in succession of the prior books. God revealed all the books. All the prophets came from one. All the prophets are one brotherhood. And they are all Hebrews. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Ishmael, Jesus, Job, Jonah, Moses, Joseph, Solomon, David. All these prophets were Hebrews. And they all fall under Abraham. That's what this Quran explains, that religion is one. We know about the prophets that King James now wrote down in the Bible that people are following today. We know about Abraham and Isaac, and how when Abraham took on Hagar in the Quran, it mentions that Hagar became his wife before he went in unto her. That Sarah suggested that he take her as a wife so that he could make his progeny, so he can have his progeny to go on, his seeds, so he can have sons, because Sarah was barren. And so he took her as a wife, Hagar, and had the son Ishmael. And we get the story that was his firstborn son, Ishmael. He came before Isaac. Sarah was still barren. She didn't have Isaac until some years later. It's actually said that she had Isaac after, he was still young. But the point is that God commanded Abraham to take Hagar to the desert, which is Mecca, and to leave them there, her and his son Ishmael, for a divine reason, for a divine blessing, for a divine purpose. And what came of that divine purpose was Prophet Muhammad being born out there in Mecca from the seed of Abraham and Ishmael, to prepare him for the last book to be revealed in Arabic. So Prophet Muhammad is still a part of the family prophethood. All the prophets and messengers came from Abraham. So religion is one. That's what this Quran confirms. It's just that As this Quran explains, it's the history. It's the history of the children of Israel who fell into Niggerdom. And God knew that they was going to fall. God, put them through a trial. Because as I was reading in the prior shows, in the prior chapters in this book, how Prophet Muhammad in 600 AD is confronting the children of Israel with this book as it's being revealed, and telling them about their historical behavior aforetime with prior prophets, how they was going astray, changing the word, killing prophets, asking to see God, defying Moses, defying the prophets, asking to see God when God was giving them direct instructions to carry out, and how God seized them with the thunderbolt, killed some of them, and then raised them back up. God was showing these children of Israel all types of miracles and all types of mercies, and how he instructed them about the cow for a divine reason, to slaughter that cow, and they was reluctant to do so. But the divine purpose of why he told them to slaughter the cow was because he showed them how he brought the dead back to life. God told them to cut up a man had got killed. A man had got killed, and God told them to cut a piece of that cow that they slaughtered and to rub it on the man, and they did it, and the man came back to life. Just a couple of the miracles that God was showing the children of Israel, how he was working with them, because they had the covenant. But they kept going astray. They kept defying God and the covenant. And so as this Quran explains, that God took them and proved that God took the mantle of prophethood from the children of Israel and gave it to Prophet Muhammad, who still got the same bloodline, but prepared Prophet Muhammad out in Mecca to have this book revealed to him in Arabic. That's the point. Religion is one. Even though on the earth today, it seems as though it's three religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But this Quran is confirming everything. That is all one. All the prophets had the same message. And the essence of that message, the root and the foundation of the message, is to worship God. Praise and thank God. That's it. That's why he created us. God revealed himself when he created the creation, because there was nothing but he. And after he created the creation, he created it so that we worship him, praise and glorify him, and extol him and venerate him. And we get to enjoy the creation. Everything in it, he created it for us. We're the only ones who get to enjoy it. But we got to worship him. And if you don't know the how and the why, and the why and the how from which you were created, then you're going to be misled. You're going to be led astray into that eternal fire. If you are defying the very reason and purpose in which you were created for, and that is to worship God, worship the Creator, and not his creation. We enjoy the creation, but we praise and thank him. Don't put the creation over the Creator. That's the point. Listen. This is the book, the Quran, the heavyweight truth of the world, whereof there is no doubt a guidance to those who submit as pious believers in the worship of the one true God who exists without a place. The contents that's contained in this book is a communication from God in which he imparts his commandments in his rules, laws, and regulations. God informs us of his good tidings of an eternal heaven for the believers and gives a warning of an eternal hell for the disbelievers. God also confronts the children of Israel with the Quran via Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, while it was being revealed in 600 AD. God narrates to them, the children of Israel that is, the historic behavior of their forefathers aforetime with prior prophets. Peace be upon those prophets. Now with the revelation being revealed in Arabic scriptures to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the children of Israel fell from grace with God and from the mantle of prophethood camouflagingly. Because they were suspected another prophet, and all the way up to then, 600 AD, all the scriptures were being revealed in Hebrew. But this time, Prophet Muhammad was confronting them with Arabic scriptures. And so they fell from the grace of mantle of prophethood. They fell from grace with God and from the mantle of prophethood camouflagingly, because they kindred Muhammad came with the Arabic scriptures. So a century later, in 600 AD, the children of Israel fell into Niggerdom. They became niggers. They got captured by the Europeans, and they were under the curse up to nowadays, up to today. But this is the history of the children of Israel. This is the history of the niggers on the earth today. The niggers oppressors, the Europeans, kept their lineage from them, kept their history from them. The only history that the oppressors, the European oppressors, shows the niggers is slavery, old slave movies. That's why they showed them, all they showed them about their history is their history from in America, from when they were slaves. That's all the Europeans show the niggers here in America, them on the big screen, on stage, in theatrics, is them being slaves. That's all they want the niggers to see. But God, through his divine wisdom, have safeguarded the niggers' history. Whether they believe it or not, or because it seems like, people scared to read this Quran. I don't know. I think the Quran is just straight to the point. So straight to the point. It don't beat around the bush. It's talk about the believers and the disbelievers, heaven and hell, believing in one God, not praying to Jesus, not believing that Jesus is the word that became flesh, and not believing that Jesus is the Son of God. People don't want to lead those beliefs, but yet and until the children of it, the niggers do, they gonna be still under that trial and going through tribulations. This Quran confronts the children of Israel in 600 AD as it was being revealed in Medina to them. And it was a reminder and also a warner that if they don't believe in it, God is going to put y'all in, going to curse y'all. And in his Quran, God says he cursed the children of Israel, and the cursers cursed the children of Israel. That's what it says in this book, in the same ayat, that God curses the children of Israel, and also the cursers curse the children of Israel. So not only God curses them, the cursed people curse them. They're oppressors. The people who are oppressing them, who enslaved them. The white supremacists, the people who practice white supremacy, are cursed, and they are over them, and they constantly curse the niggas. Do nothing but bad to them. Set nothing but traps for them. Pump nothing but fear in their hearts and in their minds and in their being. Show them nothing but contempt. The white supremacists. Not all white people are white supremacists. You have you have ordinary white people out there. How you think the slaves got released, got freed? If it was up to the white supremacists, the Confederates who fought to keep the niggas in slavery, but lost. Those are the white supremacists, those who fought to keep the slaves, the niggas, in slavery. But it was good white people that fought against that and won in 1865 and freed the niggas. People know who they are. The Pope and the Vatican put in a word to free those people, free those children of Israel, free the children of Israel over there. The Pope in the Vatican in Italy said that, like, y'all gotta free those people. Those are God's people, and that's enough is enough. Those are God's people, and we are practicing their doctrine over here in the Vatican. And how could I be a good pope and worshiping God when I'm allowing this to happen? So the Pope spoke up for the niggas over here, but those Confederates, they wasn't trying to hear that. But other white folks was hearing that, and that was a part of why it all happened. How the niggas got freed. How good white people fought against the Confederacy, fought against white supremacy. And it's still going down today. But this book right here, God put the history right here. God, the niggas' history is always here, because the niggas are the fallen children of Israel, and their history is always here. They are the descendants of prophets. They got a great bloodline. They just thick-headed. Yeah, they blessed. They got talent and skills, and but they gotta get them. They gotta submit to the guidance, doing what thou wilt. Gotta pick up this Quran, because this is the niggas' history right here. Read this book and see what God is talking about, and know that Prophet Muhammad in 600 AD, while this book was being revealed, is confronting the children of Israel who fell into Niggerdom. Let's go ahead and go into the book. Take me a swig of black seed tea. Alhamdulillah. This is the heavyweight truth of the world. Broadcasting and streaming live, bringing guidance to the truth of what life is and what life is about. I want to seek refuge with God from the rejected one, Shaitan. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And I want to open up in the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Now let's read the Quran, the heavyweight truth of the world. This is the heavyweight truth of the world right here. This is God's communication to men. God's revealed words. God created these words for us because we are a created being. Everything about us is created. Everything that's in this creation is created. The only thing that's not created is Allah, is God, and He's not a part of the creation. But this word I'm saying, God, it's a created thing. The letter G, the letter O, the letter D. No one never said God until He created a man and a woman, and a voice and sounds and letters. No one ever said Allah until He created a man and a woman and the jinn and an angel. I don't know what the angels call them, because the angels been knowing God way longer than we have. Angel Jibril, peace be upon him, was the first creation of God. And Prophet Muhammad said, angel, peace be upon him, said Angel Jibril, he saw Angel Jibril in his original form. Said Angel Jibril took up the whole sky, one wing. Said he got 600 wings. And they all he got 600 wings, and they all can take up the whole sky. 600 of them. What was that sight like? That was God's first creation. His first created being. Because He had to create a place for these beings to reside in. So that He created the creation first, and then He created the beings. Because the angels cannot go past God's throne. God created a throne, and that's like it's like the furthest the angels can go in creation. That's the furthest they can go, is to God's throne. This is the revelation that Prophet Muhammad revealed to us, to his followers, to mankind. That the angels can't go no further than God's throne. So, and God created that throne. Okay, and He don't sit on no throne. He's not above no throne. He's not below the throne. He's not side by side the throne. He's not sitting in no chair. You know, they call it the arsh. It's a ayah to hear about the arsh, the throne. He don't sit in no chair. He's not. Nah, He created that. That's a part of the creation. He created the throne as just, you know, as some, you know, we can look at. I haven't seen it. Prophet Muhammad seen it, because he was taken to the heavens on the night journey, on the Mirage. He saw Angel Jibril in his original form. Prophet Muhammad went through the heavens, and he met he met quite a few prophets. Musa, He met Abraham. He met a few prophets. He met Adam. He didn't meet Jesus. He didn't meet Jesus. I wonder where Jesus was, because Jesus never died yet. Jesus in the heavens somewhere. So it's different parts of the heavens. You got different parts of the heavens. So I don't know where Jesus was, but it didn't mention Jesus, as I remember. No, because he would have had a conversation. It didn't mention Jesus on his on the night journey when he went to the heavens and was given the commandment of the prayers, the 5 daily prayers. He went up there and received the 5 daily prayers. That's a part of the hadith. But the angels, the point is the angels, they can't go further than the throne. So they exist inside of the creation. Okay? And that's the furthest they can go. And no angel has ever seen God. No created being has ever seen God. Angel Jibril has never seen God. I don't know how God communicates with him and with the other angels, but they ain't never seen him, because as far as they can go is to the throne. They haven't been out past that. They are locked and bound inside of this creation. Think about that. That's the point. Listen, let's go on into the book. Surah 2, Ayah 218. Verily, those who have believed and those who have immigrated for God's religion and have striven hard in the way of God, all these hope for God's mercy, and God is all forgiving, most merciful. Okay. This Surah 2, Ayah 218. So verily, those who believe and those who have immigrated for God's religion. Okay, so back in 600 AD, when the Quran was first being revealed in Mecca, a lot of the Muslims who was reverting to Islam, and they was leaving the religion of their people, which was worshiping idols, a whole bunch of statues. They were getting persecuted because their numbers was low and they couldn't fight back. They had no powerful army. They didn't have their army together yet. So they was getting persecuted. And so a lot of them who had the chance was running away. They was migrating to Medina. Prophet Muhammad even had to leave Mecca to go migrate to Medina to get away from persecuting from in Mecca, because they was worshiping all those idols in the Kaaba. They had changed this Kaaba here into idol worship. This was thousands and thousands of years after Abraham and Ishmael had built this Kaaba for the worship. This was God's house. It is God's house. And Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba in their time. But as centuries rolled on, idol worship started to be practiced in the Kaaba in Mecca. And when Prophet Muhammad was coming up, that's what they was doing. So Prophet Muhammad had got chased up out of there because they wasn't strong yet. And this ayah is referring to one of those instances when some followers of the religion of the one true God was migrating for the cause of God, leaving everything they had behind from in Mecca, their family, their homes, their land, for the sake of God. That's just like living here in America and you got land and a whole bunch of property and businesses, and you may be getting persecuted because of your religion. May be getting attacked, and you leave the land, and this is just a hypothetical, and you leave the land and migrate, to another land where they are practicing the religion purely, and you are able to practice it without danger, without feeling in danger of being attacked or persecuted or oppressed. So that's what this is concerning: migrating to a pure land from a polluted land, to a pure land for the sake of God. Okay, to practice your religion and to be around good people who are worshiping God. That's what this is talking about. But I'm no scholar. So I don't know the exact event when this ayat was revealed concerning. You got the sheikhs and the scholars out there in this religion who know exactly. They can tell you verbatim what was going on, give you names and all that. I'm not that Muslim though. I'm not that sheikh and I'm not that scholar. I'm just an average Muslim. I'm just a regular Muslim who speaks English, who don't speak Arabic, who reading this Quran in English and being guided by it as if God is speaking directly to me in English, the language that I understand. And I have a little understanding of what was going on as this Quran is being revealed, as I read the verses. I know that Prophet Muhammad was in Mecca and he got persecuted, he got chased out, and he went to Medina and established a city. When he was in Mecca, that's where all the Arabs were, and they was persecuting him, his family. But when he went to Medina, that's when he encountered a lot of the children of Israel, a lot of the Jews. They were there, and he established his city, and he was confronting those people because they had the book over there. So I do know that. This Quran lets me know that. This Quran lets you know that. But you just got to know what's going on, that this book has been revealed to Prophet Muhammad, and he has to confront those children of Israel. And this Quran lets us know that. Just read this Quran. Listen. Follow. It's a scene being set here. Scenes being set here. Listen. That's the point. Surah 2, Ayah 219. They ask you, O Muhammad, peace be upon you, concerning alcoholic drinks and gambling. Say, this is God telling Prophet Muhammad, say, because they asked him about alcoholic drinks and gambling. All right? So this is the answer. This is the retort. God is saying, say to them, say. In them is a great sin and some benefits for men. Okay? But the sin of them is greater than their benefit. And they ask you what they ought to spend. Say, that which is spare, beyond your needs. spend that is spare beyond your needs. So you got to take care of your needs first. Pay your bills first. You know, pay your car note first. Buy your food first. Take care of your needs first, and then spend the extra on charity. Okay? Be on your knees. This God makes clear to you, his laws in order that you may give thought. Okay, so God is letting us know this is the book. This is the guidance. This is the heavyweight truth of the world. Listen to this book. This is telling you all upright things. All the right things. This is the guidance that you can utilize, that you are supposed to utilize in your life to take you to heaven and to give you the best of this world and the best of the next world to come. Because without being guided, you're going to be led astray, and you're going to have the worst of this world and the worst of the next world. Because without guidance, anything goes. That means you're not dependent on God. You're not dependent on the creator. You depend on the creation. And when you are dependent on the creation, you are dealing with a whole bunch of uncertainty when you deal with men out here. Because every man and every woman, unless you can get a woman who's in your corner, who has your back for real, who loves you and who supports you, and who is behind you, not beside you. A woman is not supposed to be walking hand in hand beside you. She's supposed to be in back of you. That's the way God created it. You are the head. God created the man to lead. God made the man the vicegerent in the earth, the caliph in the earth, the leader, the king, the prophets, or the prophets over the kings. There was only two prophet kings. That was David and Solomon, peace be upon them. There may have been more, but the Quran mentions those two. There was a lot of just kings to it, but the Quran mentions those two. So women are supposed to be behind you, not side by side, as these women of today, nowadays, saying, "Oh yeah, we a power couple, we equal, we walking side by side." What? Nah, that's satanic there. That's satanic. A woman is not supposed to walk side by side with no man. She is getting ahead of herself. She is out of pocket. She is misplaced herself. And it's going to be static in that relationship. It ain't going to never be right. Because that man going to feel less than. He going to feel less than. He ain't going to be right. He ain't going to be right. He going to be he gonna have some deficiencies. Yeah, he ain't gonna be functioning properly. Because men are naturally competitive. You put two men together, one of them is gonna have to be the leader, and the other one is gonna have to be the follower. Someone is going to be doing more than the other one. It's going to be some competition there. Someone's going to have a more important role in that relationship of men. Okay? That's just the way it is. Everybody got to play their part. But there's going to be a number one, a leader. It's with men. And women don't compare to men. So women are way weaker than men. So there should not be a competition between man and woman in their relationship. So the woman must be behind. She can't be beside no man. A man is a competitor, competitive by nature. So woman, y'all better step back or lose your man. But women try to control men these days. That's a dangerous thing. It's dangerous. You can't control. You shouldn't want to control that power. That's what I see. Women want to control that power. They say, oh, okay. Women sit back from what I see. They sit back and say, okay, God gave you the power, huh? You the power. Okay. So what I must do, what I want to do is I want to control that power. Since you've been given the power, I'm going to control that power. I'm going to get in your head. I'm going to control you. And then I will be the ultimate one. This is how the woman's thinking. This is what I see. She becomes the ultimate one because she is controlling that power. Okay, so that's the point. Women, y'all got to play your position. Back up. Back that thing up, girl. Back up. That's the point. Listen. Okay, what was that? Okay. Surah 2, Ayah 220. Boy, it's a lot of writings in here, so I'll be confused when I'm at. See that? All them little writings. Then I can barely see with these glasses on. I can't see nothing with them off. I can't even. It's all a blur. So my seeing ain't that good. I got to focus in, even with these glasses on. So bear with me. Surah 2, Ayah 220. Get me a swig here. It's the heavyweight truth of the world, bringing guidance to the truth of what life is and what life is about. I'm reading the Quran in English. Surah 2, Ayah 220. Into this worldly life and in the hereafter. And they ask you concerning orphans. Say, the best thing is to work honestly in their property. And if you mix your affairs with theirs, then they are your brothers. And God knows him who means mischief to swallow their property, to take advantage of the orphans. God knows. From him who means good, to save their property and to look out for them, to do the best on their behalf. And if God had willed, he could have put you into difficulties. Truly, God is almighty, all wise. So that right there is just, now it's letting people know, letting us know about orphans. You know, when orphans, when their parents pass, they may have had rich parents, and their property is left behind. And kids don't know how to do business. They don't know no better. So you have these sophisticated adults, and then they get a hold of these deeds to these lands and animals, all these and riches. And they, you know, if they mean mischief, then they probably may kill the orphan or just swindle them out of their land, out of their lot. God said he knows. But if you mean well, God knows that too. But God said if he will, he could have put you into difficulties. And truly, God is almighty, all wise. So God lets things happen. He lets people do mischievous things for a while. Because he has created us with free will. So, but God said if he will, he could have just checked you right then. As we do bad things, God can be punishing us right then and there. Just like you get in your mind to go do something mischievous and you touch God, God could, knock you out right there, just take you out, just punish you right then, put you into a difficulty as soon as you commit the atrocity. That's the sin. But God says he is almighty, all wise. He lets us go through the motions. He'll let you take advantage of a situation for a time. But just know he's swift in recompense. That you gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? What goes around comes around. God is in control of that. God is in control of everything. And God said he is all aware of when you do that mischief, especially concerning those who are weaker than us, like an orphan. God, God is letting us, God is checking all things. That's the point. Listen. Surah 2, Ayat 221. And do not marry idolatresses. Wow. Till they believe. Until they don't worry, women who worship idols and who worship who pray to Jesus, who pray to intercessors and mediators. That's idol worship. Those are idolatresses. God's saying, do not marry an idolater until they believe and worship God alone. Okay? And indeed, a slave woman who believes is better than a free idolatress. Okay, so God mentions here a slave woman. Back in 600 AD, they had slaves back then. But slaves have rights. How some of those slaves got put in those positions? Because some of them was poor, some of them couldn't make a living, so they had to go to work for a master, and they called them their master, and they were considered slaves. You had different levels of slavery. You also had slavery in the form of POW, prisoners of war. You go to war with someone, with a different village, for whatever reason, and whether righteously or unrighteously, and you apprehend the people to get the booty. That's a part of the booty, a part of the spoils of war. So unrighteous people was enslaving people, and righteous people, when they go to war righteously, they, rather than kill the person, they'll just capture them and spare their lives and enslave them, rather than letting them go so they can come back and retaliate on them. They just keep them and enslave them and give them dawah and try to get them to become a Muslim, to submit to God, to change their evil ways. Then they free them, they manumit them. But it's just different levels of slavery. But right here, God is saying, and indeed, a slave woman who believes is better than a free idolatress. So, even when slaves was Muslims, you had Muslim slaves, it's saying here. So, I don't know the situation of how they became those slaves. I guess they were poor and couldn't take care of themselves, so they had to work for someone or give themselves to a family just so they can eat, but they had to work for them all the time. They couldn't take care of themselves, so they would give themselves to the family, and I forgot what that was called. That's called an indentured servant. I think it's called an indentured servant, where you offer to work for the family for like 7 years, a certain amount of time, and there's stipulations within that. You know, you get fed, you get a house, you get your living quarters, and you do whatever they say. You are their servant. You have all the accommodations, and after 7 years, you take what you have, and then you able to go on what you have accumulated. That's what they was doing. Indentured servants. They were servants, so it's saying you could be the servant or slave. That's just like we Muslims. We call ourselves Abdullahs. That means slave of Allah, or servant of Allah. And Abdullah, we are slaves of Allah. We consider ourselves slaves of Allah because we worship God. We serve God. We are servants. Servant and slave is the same meaning. They use it interchangeably. We use it interchangeably. Slave of Allah, that's an Abdullah. That means slave of Allah or servant of Allah. That's Abdullah. That's what Abdullah. That's what Abd mean. ABD, Abd, Allah. Abdullah. That means slave of Allah. That means you do what Allah say do. You are a servant of Allah or servant of Allah. So this is a believing Abd. Someone who's serving another person so that they can take care of themselves. And indeed, a slave woman who believes is better than a free idolatress, even though she pleases you, even if she's beautiful. And give not your daughters in marriage to idolaters till they believe in God alone. And verily, a believing slave is better than a free idolater, even though he pleases you. Those idolaters and idolatresses invite you to the fire because they worship others beside God. That's the one thing that God hates, because you defy your very purpose for being created, and that's to worship God alone without no partners. Worship God and not the creation. But we find people worshiping the creation over God because we enjoy it so much. We forget about the giver and only enjoy the gifts. Ingrates. Worthy of that fire. But I can't imagine what that eternal fire gonna be like. For all eternity, the rest of your natural existence is gonna be in the hellfire. People are taking this lightly. People think just because God is the most compassionate and most merciful to us walking around this earth, people think it's going to be that way in hell. They think, oh yeah, it might be a little rough and this and that. But shoot, we having fun here. How bad is it? It ain't going to be that bad. Man, these people, I can't imagine that, man. That's scary, man. That's frightening, man. For all eternity, for the rest, you ain't never getting out. Y'all better listen to this Quran, man. That's why I started this channel. so that I could bring out these truths and evidences and verses. Guidance to the truth of what life is and what life is about. We on this earth. When God initially created the souls, when he created Adam, he created all the souls at once. He says it in his Quran. When he created Adam, he created all the souls. He took all the souls from Adam's loins and spread them, and that's what it says, and spread them and spread them out, and made us all bear witness that he is our God, that he is our Lord. And in the next line, he said he did that so that on the day of resurrection, when we're judged, that there won't be no excuses. There will be no objections. There will be no alibis. You're going to be judged by this Quran. No questions asked. Because God said he made us all bear witness that he is our God. So everybody has the belief in God branded in our souls, man. There ain't no excuses, y'all. There ain't no excuses, y'all. We be out here playing, man. Out here playing, just overwhelmed out here in this world, man. And when death approaches you, people just put off, they turn their back on God, they isolate themselves from God, they betray God, they neglect God, they disappoint God with disbelief. Doing what thou wilt. Not seeking the guidance. People don't want to read. People don't want to read no Quran. They don't. People look at these books as just like, man, that's an ancient book, man. That ain't got nothing to do with what I'm doing today, nowadays. People ain't thinking about this, man. That's why I started this channel, to try to bring it, to shine some light on it. That maybe y'all, perhaps someone, y'all could discover this channel and lend an ear and see. I'm reading it for you in English. See the seriousness of this, the truth of what life is and what life is about. I'm trying to guide you to it. Trying to open your eyes to this. This is a real deal. This is the heavyweight truth of the world. We are eternal beings. God has blessed us. God has blessed us for all eternity. Or he has naturally blessed us. That's the highest expectation, to make it to heaven, man. The most compassionate, the most merciful. That's what he has done. He has created us initially for all eternity, and has created a heaven for us that we can get whatever we want for all eternity. But those who fail and defy the purpose in which they were created for, and that's to worship God, and they don't worship him, they worship the gifts, the bounties, the sustenance, and the provision. They put that over, they put the gift over the giver, and they don't think nothing about the giver. Show very little respect or reverence to the creator, to the giver, God. They just take it for granted that, you know, that this is a privilege. Well, now this life is not a privilege. Is it a privilege? No, it's not a privilege. It's a right. This life is a right for everybody, for the believers and the disbelievers. We all have a right to eat, to drink, to go out and do what thou wilt. That's your right. That's your God-given right. That's not a privilege. That's your God-given right. To do what you want to do, to believe or disbelieve, to be good or bad. To submit or to do what thou wilt, to be guided or to be led astray. It's your right. It's your God-given right. Do what you want. But to go to that eternal heaven, that's for the privileged. You don't have a right to go to there. You don't have a right to go there. No. That's for the privileged. To live for all eternity in heaven, that is a privilege. You have to earn that. You got to earn it. Just like how you go and apply for your driver's license, so that you got to go pass the test. You got to study and you got to read these books. You got to follow this guidance so that you can pass this test, so that you can get your driver's license. That's a privilege. That's not a right. No one just have a right to drive a car. That's a privilege. And once you get your license, there's rules and laws and regulations that you have to abide by, or you're going to get tickets. And you're going to get those tickets and you're going to get points added to your license. Until where you can get so many points to where you lose your privileges. They take them from you. Now you lose that privilege of driving, and it's not a right. So it's not a right. You can have it or you can't have it. You have to earn it, just like that eternal heaven. That's a privilege. You got to earn that. You got to follow this guidance. Don't be scared of this Quran. People like they scared of this Quran. They don't want to admit it. But I'm laying it out for you. Religion is one. Don't be confused out there. God did not create this, did not create it to be confusing. God created it to be simple. God means simplicity, so that we can get it. God did not make anything hard. Whenever something seems to be hard or confusing, know that the shaitan is in the midst of it. That some human being manifesting the shayateen from those evil whispers, that the shayateen, how he affects mankind, how he makes suggestions, and mankind manifests that devil. If y'all watch my prior shows, how I explain about how the devil is within every man and every woman, that no one has never seen the devil, and how the devil exists to us. It's because when God created Adam, he made the Iblis to bow down, and the angels. The Iblis said, "No, I refuse to bow down to man. Why are you raising him up over me? I've been worshiping you, God, for thousands of years, for centuries. I've been your most pious worshiper. I'm Iblis. I'm the beautiful one. I've been keeping all this nation of jinns, my beings, under control. I got all of them worshiping you. And now that you have created this man, you want us to bow down to him? You raise him up over us? So no, I'm not bowing down to him. In fact, I hate him, God, and I want to be his test." This is what the Iblis said. This is what this Quran said. And God said, okay, G money, all right. All right, what? Now what? God said what? Iblis said, just let me be his test. I want to I want to come at him from his right, his left, his back, his front, under, from beneath him and above him. God said, you've been granted that respite. So how the devil affects us, the evil thoughts, it's called the waswas. So he's able to whisper evil thoughts to us, evil suggestions. That's how the devil affects the man. So whenever you get an evil suggestion, that's the shaitan. Now you think about it. Now you sit back and think about it. Something evil popped in your head. Now you think about it. You think about whether you're going to do it or not. Are you going to manifest this action? Are you going to manifest this thought into an action? So we have the ultimate control. We have the power over that suggestion. We have the final choice. We have the final recourse to choose, to do or not to do that evil, crazy thought that just came in your head. That's the shaitan. That's how he affects us. He puts a thought in our head and then he withdraws. And now it's up to you to do the action. If you do it, you manifest the devil. Because no one has ever seen the devil. All we've seen is men and women out here. So the devil is he is the author of confusion, the practitioner of confusion. God makes things simple. There's nothing hard about this, the way God has created his creation to work, about the functionality of the human being, about following the guidance. As I'm reading this book, you see that ain't nothing hard to understand about it. It's straightforward. But if you reading something that's confusing to you, just know that the devil is the author of confusion, and the devil manifests through man's actions in this world. You ain't gonna never see the devil. No one has ever seen the devil since the beginning, since the creation of man. Maybe Adam saw him when he refused to bow down to him. But we, as Adam's progeny, we never saw him since they was down here on earth. Since we ain't seen him, we just see men committing atrocities. Okay, so he's the author of confusion. God means simplicity. So whenever something is confusion or hard to achieve or hard to think about, just know that it's the devil, the shaitan is in the midst of it. And what you should do is just sit back and think and say, hold up. This is kind of confusion. Let me just get to the point of the matter. What's the point? What's the goal? And just go through the channels to get to the end, to get to your goal, to complete the mission. Just slow down and say, hold up, man, this is kind of confusing. And just think, get your mind right, focus on what the goal is, and zero in on it and get it done. Because we can achieve anything. If you can conceive it, you can believe it, that you can achieve it. Okay? That's the point. Let's go ahead and read a couple more ayats. Okay, where was I? Okay. Okay, I didn't even finish reading this ayat. All right. Surah 2, ayat 221. Finish reading this real quick. And do not marry idolatresses till they believe in God alone And indeed, a slave woman who believes is better than a free idolatress, even though she pleases you. And give not your daughters in marriage to idolaters, till they believe in the one true God alone. And verily, a believing slave is better than a free idolater, even though he pleases you. Those idolaters and idolatresses invite you to the fire, but God invites you to paradise and forgiveness by his leave. He invites you to forgiveness and makes his proofs, evidences, verses, his lessons and signs of revelations clear to mankind that they remember. See, God makes it clear. There's no confusion. He's straightforward. He's telling you what it is. God. If there's confusion in the midst, you know that the shaitan is a part of it, and you need to just sit back, think about it, and see through the smoke, through the cloudiness. Just wait till the smoke clears. Like, I can see again. Just relax. Don't get overwhelmed and think, oh, it's too hard, or you want to give up. Just sit back, relax, and think about it. Let the smoke clear so that you can see clearly. Because God means simplicity. What did God say? He said his proofs, evidences, verses, lessons, signs of revelation. He makes it clear to mankind that they remember. Surah 2, so that you can remember. He makes it clear so that you remember. This is God. This is the guidance. Listen. God makes it clear so that you can remember, so that you won't be confused. Ain't no confusion with God's ayats, his proofs, his verses, his revelations, his signs, his lessons, his proofs, his evidences. He makes it clear. I just can't read over that. He makes it clear so that you remember. That's the point. Listen. This is the heavyweight truth of the world, the Quran. I'm reading for you in English, so that we can be guided to the truth of what life is and what life is all about. Surah 2, Ayat 222. They ask you concerning, menstruation. This is women's monthly menstruation cycle. Say, that is an harmful thing for a husband to have a sexual intercourse with his wife while she is having her menses, Can't do that. Thereafter, keep away from women doing menses, and go not into them till they are purified from menses and have taken a bath. And when they have purified themselves, then go into them as God has ordained for you. Go into them in any manner as long as it is in their vagina. Can't go in the anus. That's forbidden in Islam. You can go in unto her vagina any way you want, any position, but the anus is off limits. That's a great zone, a great wrong. Can't mess with those anuses out there. Listen. And that goes double for men. Men's anuses, or quadruple, or 100 times fold. Listen. Truly, God loves those who turn to him in repentance, and loves those who purify themselves by taking a bath and cleaning and washing thoroughly their private parts and bodies for their prayers. Okay, that's straightforward. Can't go in unto women while they have their monthly cycle. And you can't, and you can go in unto the vagina, and you can't mess with anuses. That's off limits. That's forbidden. That hole is forbidden. Surah 2, Ayat 223. Your wives are a tilth for you. So go to your tilth when or how you will, and send good deeds, or ask God to bestow upon you pious offspring for your own selves beforehand, and fear God, and know that you are to meet him in the hereafter, and give good tidings to the believers. O Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay, so this is what you call a good tiding ayat. God sends good tidings to the believers of paradise, and he gives a warning to the disbelievers of a hellfire. So this is a good tiding ayat right here. I've been reading some warning ayats, just haven't called them out. I'm calling this out. This is a good tiding ayat right here. Good tidings. Good tidings that we ought to surely meet God in the hereafter. And it's using the English word meet God. We will, like in time right here on earth, we believe in Allah. Okay? We believe in Allah. We believe in Allah. I believe in Allah. Yeah, the believers and the disbelievers. That's how God describes us in this world. In this world, that's how He describes the two groups as believers and disbelievers. That's how He addresses us, because we don't know God yet. We haven't gotten to know Him yet. He gives us signs, proofs, evidences to believe in Him. But on that day of resurrection, when we pass through this earth and we transition, when our moment comes in transition, then we gonna know Him. That's what it's saying. We gonna know Him. Are we gonna be able to see Him? I don't think so. But we gonna know Him. It's not gonna be a belief no more. Okay? There ain't gonna be no more signs and proofs and evidences and revelations. Okay? There ain't gonna be no more proofs, evidences, verses, lessons, signs and revelations. Ain't gonna be no more of that to believe in. Then we gonna actually know God. We gonna know for a fact. Now that's gonna be a fact. No more belief. It's gonna be no. You gonna know God when you in heaven. We gonna know Him on the day of resurrection. And those who go to heaven gonna know God. And those who gonna go to hell gonna know God. Because they going to be in the hellfire. We got prophecies of the inhabitants of the hellfire calling out to the CO, the guard, the angel, Malik, the angel Malik, who is the CO of the hellfire. He's the guard. And the hellfire, they're going to be calling out to Malik, asking him to plead with God to let them out. And they ain't gonna never get out, because they gonna know God then. They gonna be wishing that they can come back and do it all over again. Now they gonna be wishing that as soon as they die, as soon as they realize when they in that barzakh, because they gonna be shown their seat they place in the hellfire while they in the barzakh. And the people who die and go to the barzakh, who was believers, they're going to be shown their place in paradise every day until the day of resurrection, and they get to enter it. So when they are passed on before resurrection, while they in the barzakh, like those souls who are in the barzakh now, they wishing that they could come back and do it all over again, because they know now, they believe now, they believe that now. They're in the barzakh. That's what this Quran says. And that's what the Hadith says. That they wish that they can come back and have another shot at it. Because they believe. That's what they say. Oh, I believe now. Because they're not in their bodies, and they in another dimension. And they know that they not on this earth no more. They still aware that soul ain't gonna die. They gonna know. We gonna know when we leave this place what we gonna be. And they gonna be in the state. Those souls are in the state now in the barzakh, wishing that they can come back. That's what the Quran says. They wish that they could come back, man. But they've been sentenced by this Quran to hell. Because they didn't believe. They were disbelievers. Walking around this earth doing what thou wilt. Isolating themselves from God. Betraying God. Neglecting God. Disappointing God, okay? Disbelieving in God. It's a serious thing. That's the point. Listen. Get it. Surah 2. Ayah 223. Oh no, Surah 2. Ayah 224. And make not Allah's name. Make not God's name. Okay. And make not God's name an excuse in your oaths against your doing good and acting piously and making peace among mankind. And God is all hear, all knower. Do not swear much. And if you have sworn against doing something good, then give an expiation for the oath and do good. So it's saying don't. So it's saying, and make not God's name an excuse in your oaths against your doing good and acting piously. Okay, that's to say, you have people nowadays on the earth who say, oh, they do what thou wilt. They do whatever they want to do. They don't follow the guidance. Okay, right? But then they say, but God knows my heart. They don't worship God. They don't praise and thank God. They don't depend on God. They don't pray to God. They call on other deities beside God, like Jesus or other deities, or they might not even call on. Well, they say, God knows my heart. They think that they gonna be okay, because they say God knows my heart. They think that they are good with God, and they are still doing what they want, drinking, and not worshiping God, doing whatever they can do to get a bag. stealing, cheating, lying, deceiving, oppressing. Anything that comes to their mind, doing anything that they can do to get a bag, to make some money, to have a business, to take advantage of somebody. They are lower than animals because they can out-slick you. They can think about it, and they can plot and plan. That's what makes an evil person, a wicked person, lower than an animal. Because an animal, they just do things like a snake. He do things off instinct. That's what they do. You can expect an animal to be an animal. Expect that lion to do what he created to do. His nature. But a human being, they crafty. They sophisticated. You don't know what they up to because they can think about it and plot and plan and carry out the most heinous, the most disastrous, the most reprehensible, iniquitous, unethical, evil, and wicked actions against another person. And therefore become lower than an animal. With this intelligence, using this intelligence in that way. Wow. That's what's running around the earth today, man. These people will do anything, man. People out here doing anything, man. Anything. I'm going to read one more ayat. Okay. Surah 2. Ayat 225. God will not call you to account for that which is unintentional in your oaths, but he will call you to account for that which your hearts have earned, and God is all forgiving, most merciful. Okay, so I gotta use the bathroom real bad, so I'm gonna go on eating it right there. And this is the Heavyweight Truth of the World podcast, broadcasting live, bringing guidance to the truth of what life is and what life is all about.
How could you win the game of life when you be? Do not associate anything with the law. That's one sin that takes you straight to the hellfire. If you don't repent, big consequence, no self-defense. The Quran is the proper jurisprudence and will judge you for what you used to do. So avoid all these sins to keep yourself fireproof. Murder, practicing magic, plotting evil, deceiving, frequent lying, even swine, wrongfully consuming the property of an orphan. You take what's left and leave them nothing. Highway robbery, judging unjustly. You same gender mate, commit a sodomy. Homosexuality, how could you live a life and die in this capacity? Women that act like men that act like women, denies Allah's decree. Attracted to sinning. You don't have to sin to win. Sin to win. You don't have to sin to win. Sin to win. You don't have to sin to win. Sin to win. You don't have to sin. Consuming wealth acquired unlawfully, manipulating, extortion, and bribery. It doesn't matter the way you get money. Immorality by any means necessary. Pride, arrogance, lust, and gluttony. Slander and backbiting comes from envy. Jealousy, despised unknowingly. Arguing and disputing, behaving violently. the short way or measure, offending one's neighbor with counting favors. Don't expect it later. Betrayer, a trust-bearing false witness. Giving or taking rebirth. That's interest. Racist because of a color. How could you hate it? What God created, be rated. Don't look down on others, boasting and bragging about what you be having. That's shallow. How low would you go to get what you want? Would you sell your soul? The ruin of men is committing them sins. You don't have to sin or win. Sin or win. You don't have to sin or win. Sin or win. You don't have to sin or win. Sin or win. You don't have to sin or win. A man was given a choice of 3 sins: to drink, murder, or fornication. He chose not to murder or to fornicate because of the 3 these sins are more grave. So he took the drink and became intoxicated. His pure thought patterns became obliterated. So he dashed out his house and stumbled up the street. Caught the glance of a woman that he just had to meet. She made him an offer that he could not refuse. $50 by the hour you could use but not a bruise. So he said okay, and they were on their way to the motel where they began to lay. She said pay me now for services rendered. He reached in his pocket but had nothing to give her. He thought that she had stole his money, so he choked her to death, committed a felony. He fell to his knees and began to beg and plead, became remorseful, repented for his deeds. He thought that he had chosen the less of the 3, but the drink gave birth to a sinful spree. The mother of all sins is drinking intoxicants. The mother of all sins is drinking